Okay. Well, before I start talking about anything, I want to show you this trippy wall I got behind me. This is in my Airbnb. Super cool. It's actually the reason I chose this place. Anyway, so I've been in Bosnia Herzegovina for around 2 months, pretty close to 2 months now, and I've observed it enough to notice there are three things that makes this place different, and I'm talking about from America, right? Because I'm an American. As I print my hair, you know. So anyway, there's three things that are different about here. This place is unpolluted by lawyers, insurance companies, and the pharmaceuticals industry. And you can see it all over the place. It's really glaring after a while how deeply all three of those things have infiltrated American life and changed it, and in ways that I think are fucking shitty. So, one case in point. There's a bunch, but one case in point. So, in Visoko, right? So, if you climb to the top of what is currently considered the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun, it's this fucking little mountain that is there in Visoko. So, you can climb to the top, and there are the ruins of a fortress. And that fortress is, like 1,000 years old or something like that. Now, the walk to get up there, at first it's like walking up a hill, but then it isn't. It isn't like walking up a hill, it's basically like climbing a mountain. Now, so there's this thing that people go up there to hang out on. And if it had rained or something, or maybe if you just suck at walking, you could fall down. You could fall down and fucking crack your skull. You know? Definite possibility. In America, there's no way they would allow people up there. It just wouldn't happen. Like, that shit would be fenced off. And not only that, but in America, some dickface would spray paint it. They would put all sorts of graffiti and just shit up there. And that doesn't happen here. Um, but the lawyers and the insurance companies, in Mostar has this really, really high bridge. It's the Stari Most, so it's a recreation of a bridge that was built like 1,200 years ago or something like that. Anyway, it's super fucking high. I don't know how many feet, but it's really high. There's video that I have of someone jumping off of it, and people do that. And in Mostar, it's like a tradition. It's how people test themselves. They jump off this bridge into the river. In America, that would be illegal. There's absolutely no way it would be legal for people to jump. And people, I mean, there's a group of divers, and they basically will jump if they get enough money. They're like buskers, but they jump off a bridge. It was really, really cool to see, and truly I was afraid for the guy. I thought he was going to die. But he didn't, and in America, it would absolutely be illegal to jump off that bridge. But they can do it here because the insurance companies, and that's who would ultimately decide that, and the lawyers, the city or whoever the fuck owns that bridge the insurance companies wouldn't let them allow people to jump off it. They would have to fence the goddamn thing off, and in America, it would be, again, fucking vandalized and all this shit. So, people drive in a crazy fashion in Bosnia Herzegovina. fucking crazy. So I've been in multiple cars with the drivers who, because I'm an American, I automatically put on my seatbelt, right? It's the first thing you do when you sit down. I'm an American in the 2020s. So I didn't always do that, but back in the day we didn't care. But nowadays, first thing I do, I've had two drivers that get offended, right? They get offended when you put on a seatbelt. That's like you're saying you don't trust their driving. They're like, what are you doing? You don't need that. I got you. And here, people drive, they'll be looking something up on their phone with one hand, shifting with their left hand, steering with their fucking knee on one lane roads that are mountain roads, right? So these things are twisting and turning all over the place, and they do this. And they drive faster than I would fucking drive on those roads, that's for damn sure. But since I have been here 2 months, and that includes Sarajevo, which is the capital city, and, a whole bunch of time in between and a bunch of smaller cities, whatever. There's one thing that I have not seen, not one car crash, not a single car crash. Traffic laws don't seem to mean the same thing here. Yeah, it's not uncommon to see people park or drive on the sidewalk, but somehow nobody dies. And they drive like fucking maniacs, but I haven't seen one single car crash since I've been here, not even a fender bender. And if you look at the cars, if you go to Minneapolis and you watch 10 cars go by, at least one of them will be missing a quarter panel or will have the front or back smashed or the side dented in. No cars here have that. Zero. Like literally zero. I haven't seen it. But the traffic laws, fucking lawyers and insurance companies or whatever, and I don't know if they're the ones that made us terrible drivers, but anyway, here the people all drive like crazy people. They get offended if you fucking wear a seatbelt in their car, and they don't crash. Pharmaceuticals companies, this has especially taken root since, I guess, the late 80s or early 90s. But fucking A, here, if you have a problem, you eat honey. That's kind of the deal, The apotheca, which is the apothecary, it's where you would get your medicine. They don't give people prescription drugs. They fucking don't. Like, no one is taking prescription drugs that I've met. Zero people. And the mental health crisis that we have in the United States, which is fucking crazy. It's like there are no mass shootings here. I mean, there maybe are shootings here, but they're like criminal. They're like mafia related. They're not. Now, keep in mind, I'm in Bosnia, right? So the way America went in the 80s and 90s, obviously things went a different way here, and they were goddamn terrible. But there was a corruption that happened in the United States during that period of time, and that corruption, it has at least three heads, and I've seen that those three heads are not really a thing here. And because of it, people live like more free. I don't know. I don't really know how to describe it, but the three-headed monster of the lawyers, which kind of comes with the insurance companies, that's like one two-headed monster, but also the pharmaceuticals industry, they fucking have not had a foothold here, and they haven't changed life the way that they have changed things for the goddamn worse in America. For the fucking worse. Like, you really can see it when you leave that place and just see how another place is. It's fucking crazy. And of course, a lot of terrible things have happened here. But not those terrible things. Um, it's really interesting, and just some other minor thing that they do here. Let's see if I can show you. So all doors, if you go to a coffee shop, its bathroom door is going to have a key. And a lot of times they look like skeleton keys, like these fucking keys from the goddamn 1800s, right? But every door has one of these little keys in it. So when you go on the inside, you turn the key, and that's how you lock the door. Makes sense. In America, someone would steal the fucking keys, and people don't steal them here. Maybe that doesn't fall into any of these three categories, but it's something that I've noticed. I'm like, you could not do that in America. If Cafetto had a fucking key in their bathroom door, someone would take it, and it would be some asshole that had 500 keys. Just this whole big bag of keys that they've stolen from different bathroom doors. They don't do it here. Every Airbnb, every fucking place. You go in and there's like this weird little skeleton key. I don't know. It's interesting. People think differently, and like it's crazy that I'm saying this as I am in Bosnia, right? And now I'm in Prijedor. Prijedor has been the site of a few terrible, terrible, terrible things. You know, more than once. This has happened in a few different time frames. But anyway, the people are not filled with hate. I mean, at least now, there is some level of hate that seems to exist in Americans, and like dickishness, you know, just a fucking dickishness, and they don't seem to have it here. It's really interesting, and currently in my observations, those three things cause things to suck, and maybe those are the three things that cause people to be such dicks. I don't know. Just things that I've been thinking about.